confidential information we want to transmit from one end to another end, where a lot of already frequencies band or frequency receiver receiving system are, where at that point where we want to actually get received this signal, a lot of other receivers are already there, like AM receivers are there, FM receivers are there, PM receivers are there, PCM receivers are there, so many receivers are there. So if you transmit this information to here, then what will happen if suppose we transmit this information to here using the AM receiver or FM receivers or PCM receivers, anyone, then what happens? This signal may be received by other user, some other receivers where that information is not, where that information is not intended actually to be received, because that user might be using the AM receiver or FM receiver. So if you are transmitting the informations in that AM technique only, then that receiver may receive that information also, and then there is no such case of the confidentiality which can be maintained. So to transmit the secure information over the same band, like 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 if, but what happens if already the amplitude modulated signals what we have, suppose the spectrum of that one is like this. Now if this spectrum get spread over the wide frequency band, slightly wide frequency band, these are the narrow frequency band receivers, AM, FM, all these are the narrow band frequency receivers. So if we spread the spectrum of this AM itself, suppose AM itself, then what happens? The receiver which is designed to receive this narrow band signal, AM, will not be able to receive that spreaded spectrum signals, and hence informations can be securely transmitted. Okay. Then question arises that okay, how can we do the spreading of the spectrum? So we can do the spreading of spectrum just by doing the second modulation, that is modulating second time to that of the modulated signal. We can do the spreading. So then question is that how can we actually use the second modulation techniques over the first already modulated signals? So that we do with the help of PN sequence. PN sequence. PN sequence. Okay. So we will see that spreading of the spreaded signal further we do with the help of PN sequence, and PN sequence is called as pseudo noise random sequence. This is pseudo noise random sequence coding technique. This one is the pseudo noise random sequence, random sequence. So that also will be studied. Okay. Then pseudo noise random sequence. What is this pseudo noise? It is noise, so it should be random in nature. Then why the word pseudo is written over here? And at the same time we are saying that it is a sequence. So what is the meaning of this? That is pseudo noise sequence. Noise is the random process, so definitely this should be written as random noise sequence, but it is written as pseudo noise random sequence. So, and at the same time, one thing I will come again to this PN sequence just to briefly discuss about this model 5. What are the contents which we are going to discuss? Then this PN sequence is used to spread the already modulated signal, spread the spectrum of the already modulated signal. How can we spread that? I will be explaining. Okay. Now, so first you should know a little bit over here that what is the PN sequence. PN sequence is nothing but called as pseudo noise random sequence, and it is not random in nature. In fact, it is deterministic in nature. But why do we call it as random? Because we call it as random because the sequence of repetition of the bits happens after a long time period. So since the sequence of bits appears over the long time period, hence we say that okay, the sequence are appearing in random way, but it is not purely random. That's why we call it as pseudo noise random sequence. Like suppose 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1, keep writing over the long time period. Then after this, the same sequence gets repeated. So since this period is very long, the repetition period is very long, so we say it as random in nature. But at the same time, you cannot say, you can say that it is not in random nature, although the period is large. That's why we say it as pseudo noise random sequence. And in fact, we will see later on that this PN sequence is generated in purely deterministic way. deterministic way. If any signal is generated in purely deterministic way, then it cannot be random in nature. It cannot be random in nature, even though we call it as pseudo-noise random sequence, only because the repetition period, that is the period of this repetition period of this, all these sequences are very large, very long. That's why we say that it is repeated after a very long time. So we can say, let us say it as pseudo-noise random sequence. And in fact, this pseudo-noise random sequence is used for the spreading of the signals in the second modulation and for de-spreading of the signal, because ultimately if some information signal is there at the transmitter side, then if the information signal is there at the transmitter side, and if you want to spread, and if you have spreaded this, then ultimately at the receiving side we must have to de-spread it, and then we must have to extract the message information signals. So de-spreading is done until unless this receiver does not know, cannot be done until unless this receiver does not know about the PN sequence. So since we use the random noise code to actually transmit, to modulate the signal and to spread the signals and to transmit, and the receiver cannot decode the information until unless that receiver does not know about the PN sequence. So this actually gives the encryption type of property in the spread spectrum techniques. And then by using the simple AM receiver, like suppose here we have used the AM transmitter, and then we have spreaded. In the next stage we have spreaded the spectrum, and then we have transmitted. Then since the spectrum has been spreaded, so that spectrum will not be received by ordinary AM or FM receivers, and at the same time the receiver, which is actually designed to receive that much wider spectrum, will receive these signals, and then knowing this PN sequence at the receiving side, it can de-spread it, and then later on, just by using the simple AM receivers, ordinary AM receivers, it can receive the original message signal, or it can extract the original message signal. So this is the basic concept which we are using in the spread spectrum techniques, and this one is a very interesting actually module and very easy module, and you all can understand it very easily. So now coming to these are the basic actually features, like as I told you, in the applications we used to use in the military communications, in radar communications, satellite communications, as a CDMA. If you might have heard CDMA techniques, CDMA. Okay, so the CDMA in multiple access techniques, it is most commonly used in the satellite communication system. So there also we can use the spread spectrum techniques, and this CDMA in fact is in your course also, which is based on the direct sequence spread spectrum. Like you can see, code division multiple access techniques. So multiple access techniques can also be possible with the help of spread spectrum. Like you know that by using the modulation techniques we can do the multiplexing. So multiplexing is possible once we use the modulation techniques. Similarly, the multiple access techniques, especially there are three types of multiple access techniques: code division multiple access techniques, frequency division multiple access techniques, time division multiple access techniques. So we are not going to discuss about these two. Mainly, this spread spectrum technique is based on this the multiple access techniques, which is based on the spread spectrum techniques, that is called as CDMA, code division multiple access techniques, and we will be discussing the basic techniques about the CDMA here only, based on the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques. Now, so spread this one multiplexing multiple access technique is also possible with the help of spread spectrum. So if we talk about the applications now, we can use this spread spectrum in almost all types of communications, like in military communications, in radar communications, in navigations, in satellite communications, in telecommunications, and many more. If you talk about the basic characteristics, then basic characteristics of that one is that it is immune to noise. It is immune to noise. It is having the better security because of the encryption type of things, and many more that I will be discussing. The basic characteristics and applications. Now, if you type and as I told you that what is the spread spectrum and how can we do the spreading and how can we do the de-spreading, and that we can do with the help of PN sequences. What is PN sequences? A sequence that also I have already discussed. Basic introductions I have given you, but later on we will see that how can we generate this PN sequence. How can we generate this PN sequence? What are the basic other features, properties of this PN sequence that I will be discussing in more details later on in our subsequent lecture. Now, As I told you, that spread spectrum technique is of three types. One is the mainly which we need to study over here. Although it is of four types. That is direct sequence spread spectrum. Another is the frequency of spread spectrum. Another is the type of spread spectrum. And as I told you, that spread spectrum technique is nothing but the second modulation of the first modulated signal. So if second modulation is amplitude modulation of the already modulated signal, then that type of modulation is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. That type of spread spectrum technique is called as DSSS. That is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. Like suppose in the first modulation techniques we take as BPSK. So this was the modulated signal, BPSK modulated signal. It is having the spectrum like this, which we have already studied in module 4, module 3, and it is having the bandwidth of say FB 2 FB. The bandwidth of this BPSK signal is nothing but the 2 FB. Now, with the help of this PN sequence, if you are able to split the spectrum of this BPSK signal like that, say it is from 4 FB, then what happens? The spectrum of the first modulated signal is spread. And how does this spectrum split? That is spread with the help of second modulation, which we do by using the PN sequence. And that second modulation is nothing but the amplitude modulation. So the modulation in the single term, in the single sentence, we can simply define the spread spectrum technique as the modulation of the modulated signal. The modulation of the modulated signal is spread spectrum, and if the second modulation is amplitude modulation of that modulated signal, then that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. And if we take the first modulation as BFSK, binary frequency shift gain, BFSK, then we do the second modulation, then it is called as frequency hopping spread spectrum. Okay, so this is how we can actually perform. And so here first we will be studying about the characteristics and applications of the spread spectrum. Then the first type of spread spectrum, which is called as direct sequence spread spectrum, where we will see that the first modulation techniques will be considering as BPSK signal, and then second modulations, which is the amplitude modulations, we will do with the help of PN sequence. That is called as direct sequence spread spectrum, that we will see. And then in the direct sequence spread spectrum, we will see the effect of the thermal noise. That is, what is the effect of the thermal noise in the DSS, direct sequence spread spectrum. And then we will see that if there is a single tone interference means if suppose we have the direct sequence spread spectrum modulated signal, and in between, while during the communications, if there is an interfering signal, and the interfering signal is of single tone, that is one sinusoidal signal, deterministic one sinusoidal signals, then what is the effect of that single tone interfering signal on that direct sequence spread spectrum techniques that we will study, and that is called as jamming. So that we will be studying after discussing about the direct sequence spread spectrum and the effect of the thermal noise, that is the white noise, in the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques. And then one of the applications of the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques, that is called as port division multiple access, which is most commonly used in the case of satellite communication. We will study about the CDMA in details, and then we will study about the PN sequence. Although the application of the PN sequence will come here only, that is in the direct sequence spread spectrum, but basic understanding what I told you, that PN sequence is nothing but it is determined purely in the deterministic manner in the strict sense. If we talk about strict sense definition, then this PN sequence is not random in nature, it is deterministic in nature, but due to the large period, repetitions period, we call it as pseudo-noise random sequence. And the frequency, that is bit rate of the PN sequence is much higher than the bit rate of the original BPSK signals we will take. Until unless it will not be higher, like in the case of first modulation techniques, we used to take the carrier signal of very high frequency. So until unless we do not take the carrier frequency of high frequency, that does not fulfill our requirement of the modulation techniques. Similarly, that is called as chip frequency. For PN sequence, it is called as chip frequency, right? Or chip rate. That I will discuss what are these. So these are actually the high as compared to the original BPSK signals frequency bit rate. So using that, we will use the basic concept of the PN sequence over here only, and at least you will be having the idea while using in the direct sequence spread spectrum that is what is the purpose of PN sequence, and why we are going to generate the PN sequence in this topic, and why we are going to actually study about the PN sequence here over here. So all those things you will be able to understand over here only. But we will use the basic property of the PN sequence to discuss the direct sequence spread spectrum. Then once we will reach over here, then we will discuss in more details about the PN sequence, what are the properties of PN sequence, how it can be generated. In more details we'll be studying over here. And then at the last, if in the first stage of the modulation, if you consider the BFSK signal or frequency modulation signal, then that is called as frequency Hope spread spectrum. I'm not going to actually discuss about this time Hope spread spectrum. If I will get the time, then I will be discussing. Otherwise, I will leave this particular topic. A very simple topic. It is very simple. If you are able to understand all this, then you can understand this topic only. This topic also. So that is how we will progress to complete this module 5. And honestly speaking, to complete this module 5, I will require maximum 5 to 6 lectures. Maximum 5 to 6 lectures. So don't worry, it will be completed before your due time. Now, moving to the references. So as I written over here in the bold, that is most of the things what I'm going to take is from Principle of Communication System for the Research, Straub and Selling. So this book is also available on the internet. You can actually download and you can go ahead. It is, I think, given in the 12 to 14 chapter in between, either in the 12 or in the 13 or in the 14. I think it is given in the chapter number 14. So depending upon the edition, it can vary. But in the 4th edition, I think it is given in the chapter number 14. So you can actually go ahead in that way. And you can follow this book also, Principle of Communication System, all the things, because we have only designed this syllabus, and we have designed this syllabus from this book only. So you can go ahead, okay, in case you find any difficulty. Now, moving to the first topic, that is spread spectrum transmission and reception. So this is the topic I have written, that is the spread spectrum transmission and reception. But meanwhile, I will be first discussing about the basic definition of the spread spectrum, what is spread spectrum, and then what are the applications of the spread spectrum, what are the characteristics of the spread spectrum, and then we will move to the first type of spread spectrum technique, that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum technique. So first, as I told you, that spread spectrum technique, this is the basic definition of the spread spectrum techniques. As I told you, that spread spectrum is a technique whereby a modulated signal, already modulated signal is modulated a second times. The same definition I told you, that spread spectrum is the techniques whereby an already modulated signal is modulated a second time in such a way to produce the waveform which interfere in a barely noticeable way with any other signal operating in the same frequency band. Like this example what I have given you, that if suppose there are so many AM receivers, so it is spreaded, that is the second modulation technique is used such that this PN sequence cannot be known to the other receivers, so that by using that PN sequence or by any intruder, they can actually extract the information, confidential information which we use to send from the one source to the destination. So it is done such that it can have the interference with the barely noticeable way with any other signals operating in the same frequency band. Okay. So this is the basic definition, and in the simple terms, you can simply remember the basic definition of the spread spectrum. That is, spread spectrum technique is nothing but the modulation of the modulated signal. That will be enough. That is, modulation of the modulated signal means you are doing the second modulations for the first modulated signal. And in the case of direct sequence spread spectrum, the first modulated signal is nothing but the BPSK. Say, for example, if we take, then the second modulation technique is nothing but the amplitude modulation. And that amplitude modulation is done with the help of nothing but the PN sequence. If you remember these basic things now, then you will be able to understand this particular module very easily. Now, so as I told you, this also, that is thus a receiver tuned to receive a specific AM or FM broadcast. As I told you, that thus the receiver tuned to receive a specific AM or FM broadcast would probably not notice the presence of spread spectrum signal operating over the same frequency band. This spread spectrum technique, if that one is also operating in the same frequency band which is allocated to the AM or FM, but because of the spreading in the spectrum, those specific receivers which are designed specifically for the case of to receive the AM or FM signals will not be able to receive that spread spectrum signals. Similarly, the receivers of the spread spectrum signal will not be able to notice the presence of AM or FM signal, because that spread spectrum signal is the receivers are designed to receive the wide spectrum signals, but ordinary AM and FM receivers are narrowband. So those signals will also be not be received by the spread spectrum signal, because at the same time that spread spectrum signals has the knowledge of that PN sequence, and then it is designed such that first the received signal gets multiplied by that PN sequence, and that PN sequence must be exactly same what we have used at the transmitting. If there is even single bit deviations from the transmitted one, then we won't be able to extract exactly our original message signal. So that will cause the error. So this type of properties, that is the AM and FM will not be able to receive the spread spectrum signal, and spread spectrum receiver will not be able to receive the AM signals. This type of property is called that interfering signals are transparent. That is, AM and FM are transparent for the spread spectrum signals and spread spectrum receivers, and spread spectrum signals are transparent to the AM and FM receivers. So thus we say that interfering signals are transparent to spread spectrum signals, and spread spectrum signals are transparent to the interfering signals. So these are the basic actually definition. That is, spread spectrum technique is nothing but the modulation of the modulated signals, and this one it is having the unique property of the transparency. That is, even though it is working in the same frequency band, the AM receiver cannot receive the spread spectrum signals, and spread spectrum receivers cannot receive the AM or FM broadcasted signals. Now, moving to some features of the spread spectrum, like the first what is written over here in your syllabus, that is the characteristics of the spread spectrum. So you can consider this only, that is characteristics of the spread spectrum signals. So moving to that only, some features is nothing but the characteristics. So some features of the spread spectrum communication system. What are those features? So first, immunity to jamming, as I told you, and some features I have already told you. And one feature you can also write this one only, this one also, that is the transparent properties. And you can consider this as a second, that is immunity to jamming. That is, spread spectrum signals are difficult to detect on narrowband receivers. As I told you that AM, FM always are the narrowband receivers. So spread spectrum signals are very difficult to be detected by those narrowband receivers, because of the signal energy is spread over the wide band. In the spread spectrum, the signal whole energy is spread over the wide band. So it is very difficult to be detected by the narrowband receivers. Okay, that is it means that it is the immunity to jamming. Okay, now low interference. Such signals less likely to be interfered with the other narrowband receivers. The same reason. If it is not being received by the narrowband receivers, it does not. It means that spread spectrum signal is not interfering with the nearby narrowband receivers. So it is having the low interference. So SS stands for spread spectrum. Spread spectrum signals less likely to interfere with other narrowband radio communications due to the spread of the energy over the wideband. Same reasons, but there are two features: immunity to jamming and low interference. In fact, both are actually correlated with each other. That is, those systems which will have the low interference definitely will have the immunity to jamming. Next one is the high processing gain. That is, this processing gain is defined as chip rate divided by the information bit rate. You might be surprising over here, but because you might have not already you might have not heard about this terminology, chip rate. So, but here for time being, you just you just remember it. That is, there is one parameter. I will be explaining that what is the high processing, what is the processing gain, and why this processing gain should be high. why this processing unit should be high, and this processing unit should be high only to have the low jamming or low interference. So later on, once we will have the discussion about the single pole interference and jamming concept, there we will see that the concept of processing gain, and there we will also see that why this processing gain should be high. So this is the third features of the spread spectrum communication system, that is the spread spectrum processing gain is high. Why it is high? Because it is the ratio of chip rate to that of the information bit rate. And as I told you, that chip rate is defined for the case of PN sequence, and this information bit rate is defined for the case of, suppose first modulation techniques we are considering as BPSK, then this information bit rate, which is FB, is defined for the BPSK signals. So as I told you earlier also, that is to spread the spectrum of this BPSK signal, we must have to use the PN sequence whose chip rate is much higher than to that of the FP. So if this chip rate is much higher than to that of the information bit rate, so definitely this factor will be high. And this factor is ranging in between 11 to 16 dB. And if this factor is high, then automatically that system will offer the low interference and immunity to jamming. So for time being, you can remember that the processing gain is defined as chip rate divided by the information bit rate, which is defined as FC by FB, or sometimes we also denote it by RCS in some book, RCS by RB. The meaning of both remains same, that is RCS is same to that of the FC and RB is same to that of the FB, and both are nothing but the chip rate and information bit rate respectively. Now moving to the fourth property, that is the easy encryption. As I told you, that this PN sequence is pseudo-random noise sequence, and the receiver, until unless don't know about the PN sequence, cannot actually recover the message signals. So there is a high security, and with the help of this PN sequence only we can provide the encryptions. So spread spectrum signals can be used for encrypting the signals. Only a receivers having the knowledge of a spreading code. Spreading code means nothing but the PN sequence code. Having that receiver which is having the knowledge of a spreading code can recover the encoded information. So there is a easy encryption and there is a greater security. Like spread spectrum signals are difficult to exploit or spoof, and they cannot be exploited or they cannot be spoofed until and unless the receiver does not know or the intruder does not know about the PN sequence. If they are able to actually find out that exactly recover the exactly know the PN sequence, then definitely they can break the security code, and they can exploit it, and they can receive the information, that confidential information. But it is very difficult to get this PN sequence exactly what is being used at the transmitting side to exploit or to spoof the information. And next one is the multiple access. As I told you, that there are three types of multiple access techniques: TDMA, FDMA. Those are not based on the spread spectrum communications techniques, but this CDMA is another technique which is most widely used in the telecommunications and specifically in the satellite communication system. Can be possible by the spread spectrum techniques. So these are sixth and seventh one is the resistance to fading caused by the multipath. That is, if the signal is transmitted, the signal, suppose want to receive over here, then this may get multipath fading, that it may be actually reflected from high building, it may be reflected by the mountain, it may be further reflected by some another high terrain, and then it can be reached to that receivers. So this spread spectrum communications techniques is having the resistance to fading, because due to this multipath effect, some signals gets faded and the signal energy gets lost, and that signal may not reach to our original destinated point. But this one is having, this spread spectrum communication is having resistance of fading. That is, due to this multipath effect, there is no access that although there may be little bit fading of the signal, but it is not as large as in other cases. So it is having the resistance to fading caused by the multipath effect. So these are 7 features of the spread spectrum communication system. So if you want to take the screenshot, you may take the screenshot. Otherwise, I will be sharing it through the team itself. Okay. Now moving to the some applications of the spread spectrum techniques. So what are some applications of the spread spectrum techniques? So as I told you, that spread spectrum techniques find the applications in the radar communications, military communications, telecommunications, and many more. So the first important applications of the spread spectrum technique is military communication. Next one is the police radar. As I told you, in the radar communication also, and in fact, in the police radar, it is specifically it is written as police radar, whereas in general radar communications also, it is being used to find out the range. So if the time will permit, I will discuss that one also. That how can we find out the range of a target with the help of radar system by using this spread spectrum techniques. So this is the second application the spread spectrum techniques, that is it is being used in the military communication system most commonly, and in fact it was invented specifically for the application in the military communications initially at the starting, but later on it is being used by in other communication system also, that is in the police radar, in the satellite communication, in the cellular telephone also, because earlier you might have if some of you might have used that Reliance has launched the CDMA based cellular communication, cellular telephony, Reliance. So, but later on, after I think 8 to 9 years, they have actually shut down that technology. And there is in India, I think no in the cellular, no cellular companies are using the CDMA techniques to be to for the communications, but earlier they were using this CDMA techniques in the cellular telephony system. Now, GPS positioning system to find out the position or location of a particular object, and especially in our Bluetooth system for multiple access, this spread spectrum technique is being used, and many more, because there is no such things there are so many applications of the spread spectrum techniques which I cannot list over here. So main applications are written, and some more applications apart from these, some more applications you may find. So what are the applications? First one is the military communication system, second one is in the police radar, third one is in the satellite communication system, fourth one is in the cellular telephony, fifth one is in the global positioning system, and sixth one is the Bluetooth system for multiple access, and seventh, anyone you can consider. Now, moving to the next slide, that is the types of spread spectrum techniques. So what are the various types of spread spectrum techniques? As I told you that there are 4 types of spread spectrum techniques, out of which we need to study about the 3, that is the direct sequence spread spectrum, frequency hopping spread spectrum techniques, and time hopping spread spectrum techniques, and the last one is the hybrid spread spectrum techniques, which is actually invented by using any one of the clubbing of any one of the 2 existing techniques out of those 3. First. So based on the kind of spreading modulation, spreading modulation, spread spectrum system are broadly classified as direct sequence spread spectrum. As I told you that if the first modulations techniques we take it as a, say for example BPSK, and the second modulations we do with the help of PN sequence as amplitude modulation, then that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. And we cannot say that CDMA is a type of spread spectrum technique. Rather, CDMA is the application. CDMA is an application of the spread spectrum techniques. And which spread spectrum techniques? That is the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques. So CDMA is an application of the direct sequence spread spectrum technique, but that is not a type of spread spectrum techniques. The types of spread spectrum technique is the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques and frequency hop spread spectrum techniques. Like in the first stage, if we use the VFSK or FM modulated signal, and if you do the second time modulation, that is called as frequency hopping spread spectrum system. And third one is the time hopping spread spectrum system, and fourth one is the hybrid system, where mainly the clubbing of these 2 is done. That is the concept of frequency hopping spread spectrum and the time hopping spread spectrum. Both are being used to actually develop the hybrid system. So that is based on any one of the 2 techniques of the previously of the first 3 techniques, and mainly this second and third one is being used. So these are the various types of spread spectrum techniques. Now moving to the next slide, that is the direct sequence spread spectrum. So now, if I want to go to the first slide, then here as you can see, that is characteristics and applications of spread spectrum. What is the spread spectrum? I have already discussed. What are the characteristics and applications of the spread spectrum? That I have discussed. What are the various types of spread spectrum? That also I have discussed. Now we are going to discuss about the first type of spread spectrum, that is the direct sequence spread spectrum technique. So if we talk about the first technique, that is the direct sequence spread spectrum techniques, this one. So this is the first one. You can see here also I have written that this slide, all the things I have taken from the Principle of Communication System, McGraw-Hill by Tobin Selling. Okay, so direct sequence spread spectrum. So in the direct sequence spread spectrum, main things what I told you, because in that sentence, if you remember, you will never forget about the direct sequence spread spectrum. That is, spread spectrum technique is the modulation of the modulated signal, and if the second modulation is what we are doing just for the spreading of the spectrum, if we do that as an amplitude modulation techniques, and that is done with the help of PN sequence, then that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. That is, if the amplitude of the modulated signal is amplitude modulated again, that is, in one sentence we can say that if the amplitude of the modulated signal is amplitude modulated again or second time, then that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. That is, a direct sequence spread spectrum signal is one in which the amplitude of an already modulated signal is amplitude modulated again. And how do we modulate this amplitude? How do we amplitude modulate again? By high rate NRZ binary stream. This high rate NRZ binary stream, this is nothing but PN sequence. This is nothing but PN sequence. So as I told you, that if already modulated signal is modulated once again by using the PN sequence, then that is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. So that is the same. That is, the direct sequence spread spectrum signal is one in which amplitude of the already modulated signal, like suppose we have the BPSK signal. In fact, we will be taking also the BPSK signal. And now we know that BPSK signal, we know about the BPSK signal, that is whenever there is a 1, the carrier signal is transmitted as it is. Whenever there is 0, the carrier signal is transmitted 180 degree out of phase. And if you talk about the amplitude of this BPSK signal, then amplitude of this BPSK signal remain constant. Now, if this BPSK signal whose amplitude, that is amplitude of the already modulated signal, so amplitude of this BPSK signal, already modulated signal is amplitude modulated. Again, the amplitude of this BPSK signal is again amplitude modulated by very high data rate, by a very high rate, which is called a chip rate, FC. As I told you, and this FC is much higher than the bit rate of this BPSK. So that's why it is written as with very high data rate, NRZ data. And this NRZ, this PN sequence is nothing but the NRZ. It is represented in the form of NRZ only. Okay, then that technique is called as direct sequence spread spectrum technique. Then question arises that how can we do the second modulation, that is the amplitude modulation, and how can we perform that amplitude modulations with the high bit rate PN sequence? All those things we will be studying in our next class, which is scheduled on today at 11:30 a.m. I think 11:30 a.m. So let us have the more detailed discussions about the direct sequence spread spectrum signals in tomorrow's class at 11:30 a.m. because it has already been 3:20. So for time being, I thanks to all of you for being in this class. And meanwhile, if you find any difficulty, any problem, you can ask me whatever the things I have discussed today. Until now, what I can see that 35 students have joined.